Yo, what's up? I don't have any fucking bit to do for the intro of this. This one is a lot more spur of the fucking moment. But how do I start this then? So I'm gonna be talking about a game that I've talked about once before on this channel. I don't think there are very many things that I talk about multiple times. Like, I don't think I tell multiple stories very often. But I'm going to be talking about the same exact game I talked about. It was the first game in the ceiling recording era, which was my favorite era of my own videos, if I'm being honest. And I'm just going to come out and say it. Spoilers for the rest of the video. I'm going to be talking about 999, Zero Escape, 9 hours, 9 person, 9 doors. Or as I've always known it, just 999. And just talking about, I'm just going to be talking about the game, just in general. I played 999 for the first time. Well, let's back it up even further. I had watched a playthrough of all 3 of the Zero Escape games back when I was a freshman in high school, because they were made by the same people who made fucking Danganronpa, one of my other favorite video game, probably my second favorite franchise there is, first being Zero Escape. So how could I not? So I watched the first one. I'm kind of I will hit the 10-second skip button anytime I'm not completely enthused with what the fuck's going on. It doesn't matter. Sorry, it's 2 a.m. It doesn't matter what I'm watching, or fucking, I'll try and skip live streams if I can. It never works. But I'll attempt it, because it's become such a bad habit. So I didn't really understand the series that well when I first watched it. Then, for Christmas sophomore year, I asked for the second game in the series, which was the one I was watching at the time. Or I had just finished watching, I believe. Which was the second game, Virtue's Last Reward, which to this day my tied favorite game ever, only with 13 Sentinels, because they are the 2 games that I could I think about frequently. So I played the first bit of that, and then I quit playing, because I started watching the third game, and I was like, well, I don't need to play it. And then senior year, I realized, hey, I have this game that I haven't finished, that I own. I should fucking play it. But at this point I had money, because it was after I graduated, but before I went into the Air Force. So I went on Amazon and I ordered 999. And I played it the entire way through. And it was fucking fantastic. I enjoyed every fucking second of it. I'll get more talking about the game itself in a second. So I finished that, went on to finish all of Virtue's Last Reward, and fucking everything I feel about 999, I feel even more so about Virtue's Last Reward, because I feel like they took what they did in 999, expanded upon it, and then just went, let's blow this out of the water. And then I didn't play fucking the third game in the series, Zero Time Dilemma, for another 2 years. In the time since, or in the time in between finishing Virtue's Last Reward and starting Zero Time Dilemma, I had gone into the Air Force. I had graduated BMT. I had graduated all of tech school. I'd gone through an entire pandemic. I forgot to mention that one. Yeah, I played it mid to late 2022. And I finished Virtue's Last Reward in 2019, 2020. So it was a bit in between those. All of this is to say that the Zero Escape games have been a major part of my life. A long-standing part of my life, bare minimum. So let's talk about that first game, because I'm sure once I finish playing through Virtue's Last Reward, I'll have the same inclination to talk about it. So I'd get ready for a Ceiling Lights recording of that, because that's going to be the goal, is to get something for that. I'd be prepared for that. 999 is the story of Junpei. You don't hear his first or his last name in the first game. And I am willing to say his last name, but it's a spoiler for not only the first game but the second game, and the second game is the best one, so I don't want to ruin that yet. So this is my third journey through this game, second playthrough. And so I'm gonna talk about the major differences I've had throughout the games, and key parts that still hit or don't hit anymore. Going into the game, I already knew all the twists to come, right? I knew a few select paths I needed to take for the true ending, and then still forgot a few select parts I needed for the true ending. But when it came to all the plot details, I knew everything going in, so it was less of a who did it, and more of what pieces lead me to knowing who did it. And then there were still parts where I was confused. For example, in the Yellow Submarine ending, everyone's dead. And I thought that you would be able to see, there is fake blood or there's no blood under this person, so it was in fact them. Then I see there is a fucking giant puddle of blood under them. And it's not like there are two people dead next to them. So it's like not like they could have just been like, oh yes, let's collect all the blood and put it under me. So how they got all that blood there? I mean, they did have a hospital, so maybe they got the blood there. But then I was like, okay, so did Zero do it instead then? Then they die. Like, you, witness them die. You don't see who did it, but you go, damn. They are dead. Then you see the two only other people who were alive and were with you the entire time dead, and you're like, guess it couldn't have been them either then. And you're like, fuck, no one could have done this, which is the intention. But even I was like, I know who did this, but I still feel like I have no fucking clue who did it. I ended up Googling it, like, who actually was behind it. And they're like, yeah, well, because of this one piece of evidence. They grab one person's bracelet, which is the one that only they would get benefit from to escape. But it's like, bro, like, that's such a very minor hint that's never brought up anywhere else. It is funny that in the end that wouldn't let them out because the last door's a bunch of bullshit that I did not remember. But then there were other twists, like who the killer was the entire time and who Zero was, that, like, one of them, there's never really a fucking, like, oh, it has to be this person, and then it ends up not being. It's okay, based on the evidence we have, chances are it's these two people together. Why it's those two people, I'm not going to explain. Spoilers, yes, but spoilers, no, at the same time. But at the same time, like even your character's never 100% sure. The person who's fucking related to the person who got murdered is like, yeah, it's got to be these fucking two. Because if you do all the math, the only two people other than you, me, and that girl that you've been trying to fuck the entire time, there's only one pair of people who could have done it. And he's like, damn, you right. But even still, I'm not 100% sure. And then it ends up not being them. Where am I going with this? I don't know. I'm tired, man. It's 2 a.m. But then once you do figure out who it is, you're like, holy fuck. And, like, your character is putting that shit together. Like, he's like, oh, yeah, because of this. And they're like, oh, that's just circumstantial. Yeah, but it's not because of this. And they're like, I'm being set up, and you're like, oh, so you're admitting that you're this person, meaning this. Oh, and also, the person you killed wasn't the person you thought you killed. And I can prove it because of this. And the fact that you can't fucking see faces leads me to know that it was your ass. And then the dude who ends up being the killer is like, I've been caught. Not by you, but by Zero. I was caught in their trap. And that's just such a, you bitch. Fucking, you didn't want to lose to this man specifically, so you're like, oh, it actually wasn't you who caught me. It was the mastermind who trapped us in here. And I'm like, you're a fucking flappy cunt, bro. Sorry, as I've said twice now, it's 2 a.m. I'm tired as fuck. And then with who the mastermind is, another great fucking twist, in which every single piece of evidence, including the fact that their watch is Zero, fucking leads you to know. Like, actually, was it? No, the fuck it wasn't. What the fuck am I talking about? Yeah, well, maybe. It isn't very well explained, but the person that you end up thinking is Zero the entire time, once you have the evidence being like, oh, this person, or it is most likely this person, ends up being only the assistant to Zero, and you're like, fucking what? And like they both were always stuck with each other anyways, so like it doesn't really matter which one of them's Zero and which one of them's 9 and which one of them's 9 and which one of them's 0. All that matters is that the two of them are working together, and everything only works because it's the both of them. Then the ending is another fucking great piece, because you have to go through 2 different routes minimum to get to it. So once you finish one, the actual ending, because you're only blocked off and you're like, oh, that was an ending. In fact, one of the endings is in the true ending. Like if you want all the photos for Clover, if you want all the endings on the save screen, you need to go through the fucking you have to go through one of them, then do the other one, then go back to that first one. Or you could just be a bitch and fucking just get the true ending once, and then it just is like, okay, here are all the other ones, just for you silly, which some bullshit, but it's whatevs. So in the true ending, you save a man from a fucking coffin, badass. You play Sudoku if you play it on the DS, or you do this fucking password puzzle, which ended up being fucking bullshit. I had to look up a guide, which A, I am a total moron, but B, even like the hints it gives, it's like I ended up solving the 9 part of the puzzle fucking first go, I was like, yo, this shit's easy. I just got to get them all to the same number. And then, like, once I looked at the rules and it was, I looked up the guide and it was like, switch these letters in for this. I was like, you fucker. You absolute cunt. That was some bullshit. It was some bullshit. But, I mean, I get it now. I just missed Sudoku. Sudoku was so much better. Because it was just one simple puzzle for the ending. That's so badass. But that puzzle wasn't even the most bullshit puzzle. I remember hating 2 the first time I went through. I can only remember 1 off the top of my head, though. Because it's in the true ending. The library puzzle sucks. Because you have to fucking click through every single bookshelf. Be like, oh, whoa, I might have missed something on this bookshelf. And I felt like I was every other like lockbox. You have to look at something else to be like, okay, this is how you get the clue, or like you find it in another like clue, another place. But that one, it's just like, well, you just hit the hint button. But why the fuck are you looking at the padlock first? You know, like, why are you clicking on the padlock twice before looking at other things? So it just feels wrong. So I'm like looking around, like, oh, where is it? Where is it? And it's right there. So maybe that's just it's hidden in plain sight, but in a bullshit way, you know. And then fucking finding 3 light bulbs and 3 specific books out of an entire fucking library is just, bro. But once you finish with the light bulb part and the book part, and the rest of the puzzle's pretty cool. Fucking it saying, oh, hey, look in this one book, and then you know where that book is, so you go, oh, it's the 5th book in this. There's a bun behind it, and then there's a second room, and the second room is way fucking better than the first one, because you're redoing puzzles, but you're redoing puzzles in a way that's badass. You redo 4 puzzles you already did, and then each time you do one, it unlocks a new puzzle, and that new puzzle is basically just the doors, but each time you finish one, another number gets blocked off, and you need to find out a different combination that gets that same that digital route and this other digital route, but you can't use the same number twice, and also these ones are red, so you can't use them, and you're like, I get it now. That's badass. That was a badass room. Then all the scientific like theories that show up in it, like fucking Theseus's ship, Theseus's ship, Theory's ship, the morphogenetic field. Some of them are less cool than others. Fuck the morphogenetic field. Oh, yo, actually, sometimes the morphogenetic field stuff they talk about is cool. Like, yo, fucking the dog picture where people are like, yo, what the fuck is this? And everyone's like, and then they're like, yo, it's a dog. And then people who had never seen it were like, but a few more were like, yo, that's a dog. And then they did it again, yo, that's a dog, with less people being like, and the more they showed it to different groups who had fucking been in different countries than the previous people, more people knew it. And it's not like they went to fucking smarter and smarter countries. I think like the third one was the U.S. The U.S. is dumb as fuck. But because more people knew about it, the overall knowledge of it just clicked. Like the collective unconscious just was like, oh yeah, that's a fucking dog now. That's badass. That's badass as fuck. Next, I'm just going to talk about characters, because my favorite part about all three of the games, all four of my favorite games, are the characters. In order from 1 to 9, we have Ace. Ace, so cool. Like, great fucking grandfather figure for the first half of the game. Then the second half, badass. Badass in the worst kind of way, you know? Snake is gone for half the game and still one of my favorites. He's just that much fucking fun when he's on screen. Also, he's blind. He's disabled. That's epic. I mean, so is Ace. But, like, Ace is, like, a lame kind of fucked up. You know? 3. Santa. He's the bad boy of the group. You know? Clover. Her real... Ace. I don't remember his first name. Snake. His name's Light. What's he trying to be? Fucking Light Yagami? Santa is named Owie. Clover, you're never gonna guess her name. Her real name is Clover. And I think that's hilarious. She... Oh, fuck. I had texted my girlfriend about this as soon as I made the joke to myself. The game takes place in 2 times. The present and 9 years ago. And she was involved in the Nonary game 9 years ago, as well as the one currently. So there's a scene where her older brother Light, in the previous Nonary game, goes, "Today is my sister's 9th birthday," and they keep saying, 9 years ago, there was this experiment. 9 years ago, there was this experiment. So you're like, so it's been 9 years. So as soon as they went, "Today is my sister's 9th birthday," I went, so she's legal! Let's fucking go! And that is my entire experience with Clover, because she looks like she's fucking 12. That's not an 18-year-old. That's a fucking child. They upped the age for the fucking American release. I know it. They're like, yo, we don't want them sexualizing a kid, so we're gonna have them sexualize a barely legal. 5. That's you, the main character. Junpei is either the greatest or the worst, depending on how you play. I love him. He's such a bitch. He's one of the few, he's one of the 2 characters that show up in every game, and one of 4 that show up in every game after the one they're introduced in. I guess you could include all 6 or 7 of the characters that show up in the last game and only the last game, but that's kind of bullshit cheating, because they don't show up in another game after that. But only 2 show up in all 3. 2 of them show up in the last 2, and then 6 of them are brand new for the last one. 6 is June, or Akane, as you very quickly find out. That is the only person other than yourself that you instantly know the name of. And she is one of my favorite archetypes, the childhood friend. She might, in fact, actually be one of the introductions to my love for the childhood friend, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll get back to you once I know that for a fact. But basic gist is main character's in love with her, she's in love with the main character, so you know nothing good will come of it. They haven't talked in like fucking 10 or 9 years. 9? I can't really talk about her without spoiling the entire ending of the game. Number 7 is 7. He's the only person who's like, yo, my codename's just gonna be the fucking number. The only other person who doesn't get a, like, interesting codename is fucking, Junpei, because Akane, or, June yells out his name at the fucking start, and everyone's like, yeah, it's too late, buddy, you don't get a codename, we already know your name. Which, based, 7 has amnesia and is ugly. Those are like in the game, those are his, oh, and is big. Those are his 3 defining characteristics, and because of those 3 characteristics, he ends up being one of the best characters. Another character who's always fun on screen. I think man might be an incel, because every single time he's on screen with a woman, they end up fighting. Like, either that, or there's some untapped sexual tension between, like, him and every female, including the 18-year-old. Which, like, little weird, but, like, when him and the MILF are on screen, they fucking on the side. Speaking of the MILF, I also don't know 7's name. I don't think it's ever brought up. But he's just 7. Number 8, Lotus, dresses like a whore and has huge titties. So you know she's got a fan base. She's also a mother of 2, meaning that she is in fact a MILF and not just a hot older woman. And the story that leads into the submarine is just you, her, and 7, and it ends up being one of the fucking, like, best parts, because, like, the 3 of you together just makes for a fucking dynamic trio. Like, the stuff talked about there is some of the most interesting stuff talked about in the entire game. Like, so good. And then 9 is the 9 Man. He doesn't get a code name because he fucking dies. Explodes right at the fucking start. You're like, the stakes are real now. Anyone could die at any time. And yes, everyone dies at some time in the game, and that's like... So I guess you're right. The stakes are real. Anyone could die. But at the same time, the stakes aren't as real as they seem to be. To make a 35-minute video short, as I wrap this up, 999 is a masterpiece. Yes, some of the dialogue is cringy as fuck. Yes, some of the characters are kind of dumb sometimes. Like, Junpei is once they're on a sister ship to the Titanic called the Gigantic, and the lower floors are flooded, and fucking Junpei and June were gonna go on an elevator downwards, and she's scared, and he's like, yo, you have two options. You can either say, because we might drown, or being in an elevator alone with a boy. Or when earlier in the game she goes, it's mainly when the two of them are together that dumb dialogue is said. When she goes, are you wondering about the amount of, or am I holding any secrets? Like what? He's like, I don't know, you're the one keeping secrets. And she goes, the amount of men I've dated? And like, since he's in love with her, he goes, and she goes, 18. He goes, she goes, times 0. I've never had a boyfriend. Guess I just haven't found Mr. Right. And I was like, what a dog shit conversation. Like, like, there's bad writing in all three of the games. That right there is the worst in the series. Holy shit, though. I can't recommend the series more. That shit's good. It is the greatest game franchise. And if you haven't played it, it's on literally everything. So, what you waiting for?